every Tuesday night at the Baked Potato. I was the house band
Oh,
with a
wow.
quartet, which consisted towards the end of Joe Sample on from the Crusaders, who, by the way, was on the verge of leaving the Crusaders,
Mm.
uh, and a bass player, Max Bennett, who was one of the great studio electric bass and upright bass players at that time, and John Guerin, who was kind of the hot studio drummer at that time, and a he was a devotee of Tony Williams. I mean, there was a lot of jazz, influence in there, and we were playing bebop basically, straight ahead jazz. And Max Bennett, our bass player, I give him credit every time. He's the first person that brought in a tune which I guess you'd call it stylistically funk jazz, where the suddenly the bass line was not just do 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 do, just four on the floor, so to speak, but interesting bass line, do get it, do, that kind of thing, and of course we were, as far as Joe Sample and we were still playing jazz. I was playing jazz licks, but with this beat behind us, it took on another flavor. Now you got to understand, this is 1972. The word fusion, I mean, Miles had done Bitches Brew, I believe, but the fusion was in its very formative stages. So we didn't know what we were doing, but what we knew was it was very enjoyable for us just to do something like that. But the big difference was the audience. They went berserk, nuts over this new kind of music. And I thought, this is pretty good. Let's see. So we started adding more tunes in the, I guess, funk jazz, whatever you want to call it, mode. And then we, God, then we added, as one of the guys, I guess John or somebody, suggested we add a guitar. And my immediate thought was, well, wait a minute. This is how ignorant I was at the time. Two chordal instruments like Joe and Larry playing freely in jazz, how are they going to not conflict with one another? And John says, they'll figure it out. Just trust. This is going to work fine. So we brought in a young guy named Larry Carlton. And Larry was actually from Torrance, California. That's where he grew up. So we used to call him Lawrence of Torrance. And and needless to say, things began to really fall into place at that point. Uh, and again, we expanded the library some more, and pretty soon, I'm telling you, I remember the first time when it was really clear that we had something going on. I drove up Lancashire Boulevard. For anybody who know the San Fernando Valley, where the Big Potato is, get off the freeway at Lancashire, and then drive south to Ventura Boulevard, Cahuenga Boulevard, sorry, and then make a left turn, and it's right a couple of doors down. There's a line of people standing like halfway down the block to get in to this little club, the Baked Potato, to see us. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe we have a tiger by the tail here. This is good. And so it was completely, spontaneous and unplanned, but it developed into something pretty wonderful. And so the tunes you spoke of, which had this kind of quality to them, part of it was the fact that it was so new to us and so excited. We were very excited. And everybody had the right attitude. We're not impressing people with how many notes we can play. We're telling a story musically.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's been my philosophical theme ever since. I mean, I don't give a crap about people who can play a lot of notes. Play a lot of notes when you're practicing at home, but when you're up in front of an audience, play something meaningful. Play something from your heart. It doesn't. A lot of notes doesn't really tell you anything. It just tells you have a lot of technique, but that's not impressive to an audience. We want to feel something from the player. And I think that's what we did.
Well, yeah, and I think you've done that obviously in countless solos on so many different genres of music. I know most saxophonists could probably sing you that Whitney Houston solo on that record that you did. I
Well,
mean, and those are the things that I grew up really idolizing. Were those beautiful lyrical saxophone solos that people like you have bestowed upon us graciously for all of time. I mean, those are really the timeless contributions.
Well,
Um,
if there's an overriding philosophy about what I've done over the years, um, it is, and I say this about all great musicians, whether, and I've played with, you know, drummers, Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Gadd, Harvey Mason, bass players, Neil Stubenhouse, and God, Marcus Miller, and on and on and on, and great guitarists, and Richard T. and Eric Gale, and all these great people. And what I say about what makes them great is that they may be actually physically playing a particular instrument, right? Sitting at a set of drums or guitar or bass, whatever, but they're playing the music. They're playing what the music calls for.
mhm.
So every time, and that's why I sort of have this chameleon quality because I'm not restricted by what I think is my style and take it or leave it. What does the music call for? What can I provide the music that maybe elevates it to a better level? And so with that attitude, I'm not, I'm open, man. Play me something, and if you want me to play something on it, I'll try like hell to figure out what the hell the best decision is to play. And I pride myself in that. I love to walk away from a session, regardless of the style, you know, going, I actually added something to this song that elevated it somewhat, a bit. It
Right.
was more so than when I came in.
And I'm sure that you could probably carry the same philosophy in a multitude of the different hats you wear with the musical director and producer. Serving the project is the main
Totally.
goal.
Totally. And I learned that from, the great producers that I work with, Quincy Jones well, I mean, on and on. Quincy's a great example because I learned so much just watching him work. Oh my God. And if you went to a meeting with Quincy to get an assignment or something, you walk away, he had a way, you walk away from that meeting going, I'm going to write the best arrangement or the best saxophone I could possibly write because he knows how to inspire you. He had such a gift for making you want to do the best job you possibly could. And a part of it is I always had ultimate respect for him because he was a consummate musician himself. The fact that he was farming stuff out that he could have done himself, that means that if I I got to do the best job because he's a very good judge of how good it is. I can't bullshit him. No,
Right.
no, no. Don't even think about it. And I never did. In music. Listen, the reason I'm a success, I have a certain uh, you know uh, quality that I want to give all the music that I play or write. I want it to be the best. Otherwise, why the hell am I doing it? Give your best. And because if you're going to go halfway, find something else to do because it's not going to be good for you or the people that are hiring you.
Right, and that leads me to one of my questions. It's a given that as a musician or as a saxophonist that you have to be excellent at your craft. If you took the music aspect out of the equation, what would you say is one of the more important or most important elements or attributes, characteristics that someone would need to be successful in the music industry?
And you say take the music out of it?
If you
I
take
don't.
the music out of it, meaning you already play your instrument great, what separates, because there's a million amazing
Oh, okay.
musicians out there.
Okay, okay, right, right. Now I get it. The most important, I think, other than the musical skills that we talked about, is is to get along with people, to listen to what they say, and regardless of whether they have musical knowledge or not. As I say, I've had people talk to me in colors, in vague explanation of what they want, who are what we derisively used to refer to as hummers, people who hum melodies and are very successful at it, but they have no musical. Well, Joni, if in the purest sense, is a hummer. I would walk into the studio play, and I watch her play like a so what chord, the original da da that thing on the piano. She would hit that chord, and I go, oh man, that's like the D minor 11th from, and she'd say, I don't know what to call it. I just like the sound of it.
Yeah.
And she's totally cool doing that. And I'm cool with her doing it. In other words, I'll work like hell to work with people, regardless of the degree of their technical knowledge of music, because that ain't what it's about. If I'm more, if that's all I cared about, I wouldn't do any work at all particularly in the pop and rock field, because most of those people are hummers. And I love them. I love them. I love their creativity. Doesn't matter if they come up with good stuff, I'm in. I'm down.
Hey there, sorry to jump in real quick while you're watching, but if you've been digging this video so far, I've got something I think you'll really want to check out. Let me ask you this. You've studied the theory, you've learned the licks, you've played the heads, and even transcribed the solos, but your own playing still isn't locking in like the greats. Why not? Most players think they need more vocabulary or fancier substitutions to sound better, but in reality, the missing piece, the thing that actually makes someone sound like a jazz player, isn't more notes. It's tone, articulation, and time feel, and that's exactly what this course is built around. Welcome to the Jazz Saxophone Blueprint, mastering tone, articulation, and time feel. This is my complete step-by-step course to help you build your sound, style, and swing feel your playing has been missing. This isn't just a random collection of lessons, it's the result of decades of study, performance, and teaching, all distilled into a structured system that has helped saxophonists finally sound the way they know they're capable of. Inside, you'll get access to over 25 in-depth video lessons, no fluff, just the exact methods I use with students and pros. Full demonstration videos so you can hear and see exactly how each concept works. Downloadable PDFs for every exercise, phrase, and concept. No guesswork. A complete course workbook that includes all exercises in one place, plus a key insights section for every lesson so you can absorb the most important takeaways and track your progress clearly. You'll learn how to develop a resonant, focused tone through overtone and tuning exercises, and how to build a swing and time feel through articulation, breath accents, pivot patterns, and blues phrasing. This course is designed to meet you where you are, and it's totally self-paced. You can move freely between lessons and sections at any time, but I've also organized everything in a clear progression to help you get the most out of the material. Plus, you'll be able to download a full book of 200 jazz phrases over the most important chord progression in jazz, the 2-5-1. This is a lifetime study of vocabulary with bebop phrasing, altered dominant ideas, and even a built-in practice tracker to help you stay on course. You'll also get bonus lessons like my 5-step improvisation method, a major chord and scale workout, blues phrasing and how to keep things rhythmically interesting, a full melodic breakdown of blue bossa, bebop enclosures, approach notes, and sidestepping sequences. Whether you're an adult learner getting back into playing the horn, a serious high school player preparing for auditions, or a professional looking to refine your core sound, this course gives you the foundation to play musically, confidently, and authentically. So if you're tired of guessing, if you're tired of sounding almost there, click the link and join me inside the Jazz Saxophone Blueprint. Let's make your playing feel as good as it sounds in your head. I'll see you inside the course. Yeah, that reminds me, fairly recently, I was asked to do a 5-minute heavy metal sax solo. 5
Oh boy.
minutes.
I don't even know what that means
Well,
exactly.
I mean, it was a heavy metal song, and
Yeah, but what does that suggest stylistically for you?
exactly. They're like, we want a sax solo, and it goes from here to here.
5 minutes is way too long,
It
first of all.
was a task. It was a task. Yeah, and it's not something that I've spent a whole lot of time, playing in that genre.
Well, 5 minutes at the very least.
Yeah, in any genre, that's a long one.
Oh boy, is it ever.
Now, I can't
God.
let you get off without. Are there any gig horror stories you wanna drop
Oh,
on
right,
us?
right. Well, the one that comes to mind is one I like to tell about a woman that I was so sweet to me, Whitney Houston. I played without having met her. I walked in the studio for this producer, Michael Masser, who wrote a lot of very, very popular songs. And he was her producer on her first album. And he says, I got this girl, man, she's going to be a big star. And I'm like, fine, whatever. When do I show up at the studio? Because people make a lot of claims, you never know. But I walk in, and the tune was what I judged to be a sort of like a doo-wop song. Doom, dee dee doom, doo dum, dee da. It had that kind of feel to it. It was Saving All My Love for You, of course. And she wasn't there. I didn't meet her at all, but she had her vocal on there, and I listened to it. I thought, that's great. I don't know what's going to be a hit. I never do. Uh, but I started. There was some solo. There was a solo section, and then I had to play some fills behind Whitney towards the end there. So I did a take, and he said, "Do one more." I did another take, and then I did another take at his request, and another take. And about 15 or 16, 17 takes later, I said, "You said one more." And I said, "No, I'm not doing one more. I have given you every possible thing that I have to contribute to this record. And I, my guess is that you'll find the best ones right around take 2 or 3, right in there, I'm sorry. I'm leaving." I walked out. And because the fact that he was so undecided about what he wanted, that frustrates me. Another guy like that was Richard Perry, who's passed very recently. He was so annoying that way. And he sort of had this like, Tom, could you give us one more? Oh man. And so that's one thing. Producers who don't know what they want, and I understand them not knowing what they want, but trust me, I will tell you when I've given you my best in the first 5 takes, let alone the 15. I mean, by the 15th one, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm just like going through the motions.
Right, right.
I got someone, Jamie, is asking me about the GRP All-Star Big Band. I'd just like to say
Yes.
briefly that was a great experience. I made a deal with Larry Rosen, who was the R of GRP. Nobody wanted to play the baritone sax. They asked Ernie Watts, and he said no, and maybe someone else in the sax section, maybe Bob Mintzer. Anyway, so Larry came to me and said, "Tom, I need you to play baritone sax." And I said, "Well, it's kind of a pain in the ass, just the weight of just carrying the lug of the damn thing around, but I don't mind, but I'll do it. But look, do you have an official leader of this band?" "Well, no." "Okay, well, make me the leader, and I'm good." So I have 2 Grammys sitting in my trophy case, from the GRP All-Star Big Band. And I will say it was a great experience because obviously it was just one massive group of talented people and fun people. I had a great time with Patitucci. We used to laugh like crazy. And of course Bob Mintzer and Eric Marienthal played lead alto. And of course the trumpets were Arturo. Oh my God, he's a piece of work. But anyway, Arturo and Randy Brecker and whoever the hell else, and George Bohannon on trombone, and a bunch of different piano players, including Chick and Dave Grusin and Russell Ferrante. It was just a marvelous experience. Every time we did that, we did I think 3 I forget 3 albums, and did a Japan tour. And come on, I mean, how fun is that?
Yeah, that was a huge influence on me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I picked up the GRP live first.
Right.
We were, and then in high school we were doing the Sister Sadie arrangement because I think it was around then.
Michael Labeni.
Yeah, several of the arrangements were being released.
Right.
And so we were playing all those. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I was, going around. We were doing the Sister Sadie tune, and that was a huge deal. That was just such a big influence on me. And
not an easy arrangement, as I recall. There was some tricky stuff in there,
yeah,
is that right?
yeah. And we had a really a great high school band. We were actually doing like Channel One Suite and a whole bunch of really tricky, tough
Good,
tunes. And
good. Be
yeah,
challenged.
yeah.
The one thing about being challenged, from the very young age, I learned very quickly, if I want to get better, I want to play with people who are better than I am. And I always tried people that would kick my butt. When I first started playing with Roger Calloway, one of the great, underrated, genius composers as well as pianists, boy, was that an education. Oh man. And sitting next to people like Bud Shank in the studios and Gene Cipriano, great woodwind players, just being there and keeping your ears wide open at all times. That's the trick. And they'll let you know how to play the what the pitch is, all that stuff. And I consider myself a student of all those people, and it elevated my game a great deal quickly.
And you also played with Jerry Mulligan and
Oh,
Bob Brookmeyer, right?
oh, oh God,
I
did I
mean,
love
that's got
those
to
two.
be quite the.
Please, please. Jerry Mulligan, so sweet. I was a guest. Bob Thiel sent me in 1970 to Montreux as a guest a soloist with the North Texas State Band, Jazz Lab Band. And I did that, but Jerry Mulligan heard me. And the next day he had his own thing, and he said, "Tom, you want to sit in with me?" And I was like, hama, 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 hama. He was so nice to me. And I have a picture, a wonderful picture of he and I in 1970 at the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Mm.
So later on, a couple of years later, he asked me to play on his own A&M recording with along with Bob Brookmeyer. A quick story: we were rehearsing at Joe Procaro's house, Jeff Procaro's father, uh, and I'm in this three horn section: Brookmeyer, Mulligan, and me. What the hell? So they start to play, and they're doing their duet thing with the harmony and everything, and I'm trying to jump around finding the notes that are missing, and Brookmeyer stops. He says, "Tom, listen, don't jump around like that. Find an area, general area, tone one, an area of the keyboard, certain area of notes. Stick there, and we'll work the rest around out." I was like, "Yes, Mr. Brookmeyer, whatever you say, man." Yeah, he's like the commander of the fleet, you know what I mean? The general telling me what to do. Yes, sir. And I did, and it worked out fine, and Jerry was just an awesome cat, and what a great arranger. And not to mention, I mean, he had a big influence on me. The Concert Jazz Band album, I love that with Clark Terry and Brookmeyer and Mel Lewis and all these great players. Oh my Lord, forget it, forget
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Well, they were a huge influence on some of the stuff that I did in college. We actually did an entire concert of big band arranged versions of their small group, where they were interplay between them, and we had to do it all from. We were taught by ear and had to do it all from memory by Bill Dobbins
What?
at Eastman. Yeah. So we did the whole
Holy,
concert. We learned all the parts, everything. He taught
oh
us. He
man.
sang us all the parts. And then we had to memorize it in the rehearsals. And then
Wow.
we did an entire concert without stands or anything. And
Well,
yeah.
listen, you just made a fan in you, my friend. I admire the fact that you were able to do that, and all the other people who were able to do that.
Yeah. Well,
I've never been asked to do such a thing, and I suppose if I was forced to, I would. But man, that's a tall order.
well, that was my introduction into that music. And
Wow.
I really
And it's so
got.
beautiful. Yeah, there were such masters of
Mhm.
counterpoint. They did a thing in jazz which is not that done that often, which is find that and the piano in this quartet, whether it was Jerry Mulligan and Chet Baker and bass and drums, or Mulligan and Brookmeyer,
Mhm.
but they had this fugue-like dialogue between them. It was just awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Tom. This has been incredible.
What, we're done? That's it?
I think we have officially hit the hour mark.
Hit the wall. Okay.
I mean,
Well, it's
I'm more than happy to sit here forever. I know that some of
well, if you
our.
want to do a part two, I'm down for that.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that because
Elisha is weighed in on that apparently.
yeah, I would be
All right.
way into that. So thanks so much, first of
Of
all.
course. Of
And
course.
it's been a delight, and I'm so glad that our mutual friend Jacob was able to kind of link us up in that moment.
Yeah.
It's always, and I tell this to a lot of my students as well. It's always refreshing and fills me with hope when you meet people that you idolize that are actually as nice as you hope that they are.
Well, and I appreciate that. But moreover, I still have the same almost childlike enthusiasm
Yeah.
for music and musical excellence that I did then. That hasn't left me. And I still love to hear great players playing great music, tastefully done. I'll be doing that till they pick me up off the floor and take me to the to the cemetery.
Well, that won't be for quite some time.
Okay, no, hopefully no.
Yeah, well, thanks so much,
Thank you,
Tom.
Jeff.
And we'll do
Thank
this
you.
again. And thanks to everybody that were attended. And until
Yeah,
next time.
thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Happy practicing.